shot. Actually, the heads of NBC came over. The Paul Telegny, all the top people came over to see me, try and talk me out of it because they wanted to have me extend. The Apprentice was doing well. So it was 14 seasons. It was 12 years. We had 2 seasons where we had a double, which rarely happens. It was just a hot show. And I said, I want to do this. What happened is previously, like 3 years, 4 years before that, they did a poll. They had Mitt Romney, and somehow they put me in a poll, and I blew everybody away. I blew him away, which isn't that hard, frankly, but I blew everybody away, and I said, that's interesting, because I never really gave it that much real thought. I thought about it, but never real thought, but I saw these polls were very good. And so I was thinking about doing it then, but I had a contract with The Apprentice. Plus, I was building 2 big buildings at the time, and I wanted to make sure they got finished up properly. And it was one of those things. The kids were just sort of getting involved. They're very capable kids, but they were getting involved early on. So I did that. I got them done. I had some very good successes. And I came on, and then I thought about it for the next one after the Romney disaster. And I ran, and I won against Hillary. It was quite an experience, but it was a different life because you're right, The View. I was on The View many, many times, and they loved me.
Just the way people would talk. I mean, even if people had criticisms about you, people that didn't like you, there was always feuds and stuff like that, but the reality was the thing turned on you when they found out you were going to be president. It was very coordinated, and some people are catching on to that now. There's a lot of people that were longtime Democrats like Elon and Bill Ackman and all these different, very intelligent people.
And they support me now. Bill Ackman supports me. He's been very supportive too.
This is what I wanted to ask you. What was it like when you actually got in? Because nobody really can prepare you for that. When you're running for president, you don't really know what it's going to be like when you actually get into office. What did you think it was going to be like?
In office or when I decided to run?
So no, when you got in.
When I was in. So when I was in and won and was in the White House, essentially.
Yes.
Well, first of all, it was very surreal.
Oh,
it's very interesting. When I got shot, it wasn't surreal. That should have been surreal. When I was laying on the ground, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly where I was hit. They were saying you were hit all over the place because there was so much blood from the ear. You would know that better than anyone. When they get the ear torn up.
Ears bleed a lot,
Bleed. Anyway, so, and I was thinking the other day, when that happened, I really knew where I was. I knew exactly what happened. I said I wasn't hit anywhere. With the presidency, it was a very surreal experience.
And what's day one like? You win, you get inaugurated, holy shit, I'm the president.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I'm driving down Pennsylvania Avenue. I just built a building on Pennsylvania, the hotel, the old post office, called Trump National Hotel. And we sold it to the Waldorf Astoria. And it was a wonderful thing, but I'm driving down, I'm passing the hotel. You've never seen so many motorcycles, police, military. It was a major thing. I got off, really the first time I used Air Force One, landed, and we're coming down, and we were going down Pennsylvania in the opposite direction. Normally you're used to going one way, and all of a sudden you're going the other way. The street was loaded up, and I wanted to go out, and I wanted to wave to everybody, but that wasn't smart. That gets a little bit dangerous, right? When you watch like Kennedy and some others, right? But I really felt, I don't know, the love was so crazy. And so I did get out of the car for a brief, just for a very short look. I thought it was very important. Melania got out with a beautiful dress on that became sort of a statement. People loved it. And Barrett and we're walking down the street. But where it really got amazing, we get to the White House, and now it's a little bit before dark, beautiful. And we went up to the president's quarters, the presidential quarters, and I'm standing in this beautiful hallway. It's funny, nobody ever talks about the White House as being beautiful inside. You think it's going to be everything, it's going to be all metal doors and stuff. It's not. It's so beautiful. I made my money largely on luxury. The hallway is like 25 feet wide, the ceiling heights, it's so beautiful. But I was standing there, and I said to the guys, I want to see the Lincoln bedroom. I had never seen the Lincoln bedroom. I'd heard about the Lincoln bedroom. And I was standing with my wife. I said, few days, and it was, years of hell, of vicious war. And so here I am standing there, and again, I had never really done this before. I ran a couple of months before I won. Probably, I guess if you figured max it out, it would be a year, something like that. So I had never run for office. And I did well. I mean, I run into debates. We had 18 people, including me, and then slowly but surely they started to disappear. Debates, good debates.
Everyone's aware of all this stuff. What I want to get to is what was the experience once you got inside? What did you think it was going to be like in terms of your ability to govern? This is your first experience governing anything. You've never been a governor. You've never been a mayor.
Private stuff.
Business.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden you're inside the White House.
The biggest thing was just that first moment of being in this hallowed, it was really a hallowed place to me. It was surreal. It was beyond. To me, that was the experience. It was a surreal experience. And then with time, that wears off. With time, it becomes your place where you stay. And I was doing a lot of. I had two things that I really focused on: governing the country and survival. Because from the moment I won, before I got to office, all of a sudden, they came down. I mean, nobody has ever been treated that way. And you see that. I mean, you see where in the Washington Post very early on they said, well, now the impeachment stuff starts. And it did. It literally started. So I had survival and run the nation. I had a combination. Most people don't have the survival. They get in.
What did you expect, though, in terms of, once you got inside, you had to appoint all these people?
Yeah.
how many appointments did you have to make?
Well, you have actually 10,000 appointments. Now, they're different. You have big ones, and then they appoint 100 people and 200 people. But the president really is involved with approximately 10,000 appointments. So you'll appoint a Secretary of State, and he or she will appoint a lot of people. So it's a lot. But in terms of major ones, you probably have 100, but they're big ones. Treasury, state, military.
And how did you know who to appoint?
Well, I didn't. I had no experience. You have to understand.
So
I was there 17 times in Washington, and I never stayed over. According to the press, which I think is probably right, over the years, I was only there 17 times. I never stayed over. So now I'm sitting there, I'm saying, this place is gorgeous, but I don't know anybody. It's like you go to certain areas, and other areas, they may be great. Washington was great. Washington's not so great right now. We got to fix it. We got to make it better. A very dangerous place, very badly maintained place. We're going to make it great. We're going to make it better. We're going to bring it back. But I wasn't a Washington guy. I was a New York guy. I was a New York builder, and I built buildings in New York, and I knew that whole world, but I didn't know the Washington world too well. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to be appointing top people. So,
what did you think it was going to be like? Versus, did you have any ideas of what it was going to be like, and what was different?
Well, I was always involved in politics, but usually from the standpoint of a donor. I was a donor. I was a big donor. I gave money to politicians. I enjoyed politics.
Mostly Democrats, right?
Both, really, pretty much both. I have actually pictures of Ronald Reagan with me when I was very young.
You were a Democrat until what year?
I was a Democrat. I could give you the exact, but the early 90s. I switched over eventually. Actually, they had a reform party. I was thinking about doing that for a little while, but then fortunately I didn't because it's very hard. It's a two-party system. And anytime you hear third party, I know you like RFK Jr., and so do I. He's a fantastic guy.
I do, but I thought that being an independent was nonsense.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because even if you do great, you're not going to get Congress. In other words, you need now to say, okay, now I'll get half of Congress. They're never going to vote for you. So even if you got there, which is very hard, and I know how you feel about Bobby, and I feel the same way, and he's now with us. But it doesn't. It's pure and simple. It's a two-party system.
Right.
And somebody, I won't mention his name, but somebody spent $250 million trying to get the nomination as a Reform Party candidate or whatever. And they got you get eaten. You just get eaten. The system eats you alive.
Right.
So it was really somebody that not only was new to Washington, was new to politics. So in the office of the presidency, over the